Why you giving me the finger?
What?
Why you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
Why you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No.
Do you have a problem?
No.
You have a problem?
No.
You don't have a problem, then I can leave.
Why you giving me the finger when you're walking? Get over here.
Is that a lawful order?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because you're giving me the finger.
That's legal.
No, it isn't.
Says who?
Whatever. What?
What?
Come here.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
Here you are. You just cursed me off.
That's not a crime.
Yes, it is.
Says who?
Says me. Turn around. Come on.
Bro, that is not a crime.
I rode by him twice. He shot me the finger. So I turned around and said, "What you?"
Is that a crime?
Problem? And then he
That's
tells
not,
me to
no, that's not a
turn
crime.
that off, big.
Yeah, off, big. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. He's looking at you because he's like, what the f*** do you want me to do? Because it's not a crime. I know my rights.
Okay.
All right, am I free to go?
Give us fingers.
Shut the f*** up.
Stay out of the roadway. Stop causing a public alarm.
Shut the f*** up. Am I free to go?
You're free to go.
Stop cursing.
You're free to go.
What's up? What's up, my PBM family? What's up? Another episode of Old School Cops. I got my boy Shane, my partner, my road dog. He is sitting shotgun with me. We got two other officers, right, with a lot of experience of law enforcement. I got Dave, DEA, and I got Dom Izzo in the house. So we the jump out squad for the night. Now listen, we normally, when I invented this platform, is to educate the community as well as sometimes educate officers. This is totally an educate the officer type video. Listen, you can't police in your feelings, right? I know a lot of times people piss you off, people say things that you don't like. In this particular video, the subject, the little smart ass kid, he put his middle finger up to the cop, right? Cop didn't like it, gets out. And the first thing that this kid says, am I detained? Be careful, officers. When somebody said they're detained, there's a legal terminology that will get you end up. So if you don't answer it right, like he didn't, he says, yes, you're being detained. He says, for what? He said, because you put your middle finger up at me. He said, that's not against the law. That kid is exactly correct. It's not against the law. So the officer looked like a real asshole here. So you can't get in your feelings. You can't police in your feelings. If you're going to go after somebody when it comes down to them hurting your feelings, make sure you do it legally. Make sure the person that pissed you off, make sure they did commit some form of a crime before you jump out and start trying to enforce a law that don't exist. So this dude was totally wrong, and this kid made him feel it all the way. So he gets the dunce hats for the day. And go ahead, Shane. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I got to piggyback off you, Joe. My good friend, that officer, gets the clown award. I give him a capital C for clown. Being on the force, man, 20-something years, I got called everything in the book. You're working for the man, you're a pig, the N-word. I'm a professional. We're professionals. We stand above the law. Something that one of our fellow officers mentioned earlier in another set was that our verbal judo. If you use your verbal judo, you can de-escalate anything. You can see that the kid was on one. The kid was saying whatever he wanted to say. You don't feed into that. You stay professional and tell them, young man, you have a good day. It's only for us to stoop to the level that they are. You would never get in our feelings. This is not a feeling type situation. We're professionals. We're here to conduct business. Basically, the public can say anything they want. We actually are public servants. We're here to serve the public. Whatever we can do to help them, that's what we're here for. So you're going to have people say things unruly, say things nastily, but it needs to roll off your back. We are the professionals. They're not. And like you said, we shouldn't be in our feelings. It's not against the law to say anything that you want to say.
Now, audience, my boy Shane is right. And what his assessment is the perfect example of what you should say and how you should conduct yourself. Reality is, it doesn't really work that way on the street, just like when people say comply. Yes, as law enforcement officers, we walk up to somebody and we ask them to put their hands behind their back for whatever reason, whether you got a warrant or if there's some form of illegal arrest, people just don't comply. And that's just the reality of it. So I hate when officers try to justify whatever action by saying, just comply. People don't comply. If people complied with society rules and regulations, we probably wouldn't even need police. But the reality is you don't. Now, me being a former vice president of a police union, I had the opportunity to rep a lot of police officers. And they get jammed up when they get in these type of situations. So I always tell them the Shane response. But the reality is a lot of people get in their feelings. So I used to say, listen, if you are going to get in your feelings, and when I was younger, probably kind of conducted myself like this. I wouldn't get out and violate somebody's legal rights, but I would kind of talk trash back. That's just how we grew up in an environment that I grew up in. So I had no problem going and stooping to your level. Was it professional at times? No. I should have been, yes, because I'm the one wearing the badge and the gun. Just like I told all the guys that I rep, dude, if you're going to clap back, right, just make sure it's legal. And if it's not, make sure the violation is not criminal. Make sure it's something that you could defend. Make sure it's something I could defend when I got to sit down across management and kind of negotiate what kind of punishment they want to give you. Make sure it's not a fireable determination. You gotta just talk a little bit of trash. I've never seen anybody lose a job for talk a little bit of trash. So do that. Don't use your authority to clap back at somebody. There's ways to do it, so don't use that. Because it's hard for me to defend when you illegally detaining somebody. You get a good lawyer, then it's nothing I can do to defend you. You just violated somebody's rights now. Him and his family, his attorney, he wants to sue the city, sue you. And you're caught up in a big ass problem because why? You're policing in your feelings. We should never police in our feelings. Do the job the right way, and that's pretty much what I got to say. Go ahead, Don.
I have a very unpopular stance among law enforcement supporters for this one. Cops are supposed to be the best of us. You're taking men and women and putting them in a position to uphold the highest standards possible. Right? When we go to the academy, what was it? We hold ourselves to a higher standard, and that never happens. And you put yourself in a position, especially when you use force, because every single call you ever go on has potential to where someone's life is going to be taken, either the cops or the subjects. So it has to be an insane level of standard. That being said, you need to have the accountability and responsibility that you don't have the luxury of bringing your own emotion into it. If a subject is on a street and they have a flamethrower and they're cooking alive, a senior care center, and you've got 5 or 10 89-year-olds dying, and you smell the burning flesh and hear the screams, and you pull up on scene, and that person immediately surrenders, goes prone, puts their hand behind their back, and doesn't resist, you can't be the human we all want and take your frustration on them. That's why cops are the greatest people out there, because where we, the citizens, because I'm not a cop anymore, I'm a citizen, where I want to exercise my emotion and take the shit out of people, cops can't. That being said, they also have the greatest responsibility, and I don't take a violation of a constitutional right lightly at all. We swore an oath to the Constitution to uphold it, both in our nation and state. And when you have somebody who willingly violates the Constitution, it needs to be the harshest and most severe punishment possible. Too many cops get suspensions. Too many cops get terminations. We need criminal federal charges brought on this. What dumb fucking cop in this age doesn't know what the First Amendment is? What cop doesn't? It should be the very first thing you are taught if you're an American citizen. So if you willingly violate that, like that cop did, he couldn't play stupid. He knew it. That cop needs a mandatory 2 years in federal fucking prison. And until we start doing that and setting the standards of how seriously we take this profession, nothing's going to change. I have no respect for any cop who does that shit at all.
Excellent assessment, Dom. I want to, before I go to Dave, right, I had this question asked me because they said, yo, you kind of hard when it comes down to bad policing. And I said, if you're going to give me all this power to take your freedom, to take your life, enforce laws, shouldn't that accountability, I should be punished when I violate that accountability?
Joe, what can't you do? Joe, what can you not do as a cop? You can do any fucking thing you want, and we all know it. Yep. So why can't we have responsibility?
No, I totally.
Absolutely, Dominic. Absolutely.
And I said, they was like, no, if a cop, he should get the same charge as a citizen. I was like, I don't believe that. I think if I illegally assault you, or if I'm conducting in a criminal manner, my punishment should be higher than the average citizen because of just the powers and authority that you give me, that the locality has given me. Yeah, I cannot believe you're the first person that I've ever heard that's from the law enforcement.
It's heartbreaking, and I don't mean to grandstand. It's heartbreaking because you can kidnap someone for anything you fucking want. If you can articulate it, you can kill someone. And we abuse it every day. I abused it. I spent like crazy when I had that badge in my back pocket. I was a reckless driver because I could. How many cops? I don't drink. How many cops are abusers of DUIs? More than I can tell you. They're the number one abusers of DUIs because of professional courtesy, and we let them off. So when it comes to this, I can't imagine. And it's the older me. The younger me, I did the same thing as everybody else. Shut your fucking mouth or you're about to go in handcuffs. And thank God I never followed through with that threat. Otherwise, I would be guilty of violating somebody's constitutional rights. But the older I got, it was like, I get a badge, a gun, the authority to do literally whatever the fuck I want, and I get paid to do it. If I don't take this job seriously, I am a disgrace to the badge.
I 100% agree with you. One more question before I go to Dave, because Dave's going to close it out. What do you think about the age requirement? When I entered into the I was 20 years and 6 months. I turned 21 in the academy. And now that I've spent many years and I look back, I think the age requirement should be a lot higher. I think I was way too young, way too immature at 20 years old. If you give me a badge, a gun, the power, like I'm already, a 20-year-old already thinks he can conquer the world.
100%.
He really doesn't really know shit. And then you're going to give him the authority behind it. When I tell you, I just thank God that I was able to make it without catching any problems, without hurting anything. Because I thought that I was just as invincible. Mm-hmm. I was one that always wanted to go hands-on if somebody wanted to go hands-on. I'm like, nah, I'm not taking out my mace. I'll give you a fair one. Like, I remember one time I was with my partner and this guy was talking. He was like, take off your badge. I took the badge off. I said, I make this uniform. Uniform don't make me. That's just being young, full of fucking energy, being dumb, not understanding. That was not professional. So I think the age should be 25. I don't think it should be
30. I think it should be 30. You look at guys who are coming back from World War II. They were starting families at 19, 21. It's not the same today. I think it needs to be 30.
Yeah. So
I got to agree with you on that. When I got to the academy, I was 27 years old, and a lot of guys. My FTO was 23 years old. We've been started since 19, and it's been so many times I had to stop him from doing things. And I'm fresh out the academy, and he's my FTO, and just a wildcat all over the place. You know, I had a little more experience. I was just a little bit older, but I think should be an age requirement. Has to be, because if maturity sets in. They say a man don't know he's a man till he's 30 years old. You know, at 21, 22, you're young, dumb, and full of everything else, as the world would say. Yeah. But there should be an age requirement because this is something that is very important that we carry. You know, we hold the Constitution to our heart and our hand, and it's something that we hold dearly. Like Don said, we are professionals. We are in a professional environment. How professional can you be at 21 years old, 22 years old?
What can you understand? What can you understand? I became a cop at 26, and I had my ass kicked in the real world to pay my bills. I was in the nightclub industry, restaurant industry, retail, so I knew what it was like to work. And I knew the responsibility of going to people's homes. I was actually floored that I would go to the homes of 50 and 60-year-olds at domestics, and here's me at 26 with limited life experience. I wasn't married, didn't have a family of my own, and I've got to make decisions on what's going to happen to you. That's insane. I could not imagine a 21-year-old coming to my home, my father's home, anybody else's home, and going, I'm going to do an investigation. You have no life experience. So my standard is 30.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man. I remember, like, one of the biggest things I was known for when I was in patrol is stolen cars. And when I tell you, I used to stolen cars, man, and then I would dare, like, when I would go to stop it, I'm like, please run, please run. And when they start running, I'm right. I mean, we talking about blowing through red lights, not even slowing down. They blowing through, I'm blowing through. They blowing through. Like, wherever they going, I'm going faster. And as I got older, I started slowing down, look left, right, and I started thinking back at the time when I was young. I go, damn, I could have killed somebody. I could have been killed. Like, I can't even believe. Like, and there was nobody to ground me at the time, because I was making these great arrests and these great apprehensions, and all the people around me, yeah, good job. And just sit back and look at it like, that was the most insane, going 110 through a toll. I remember going to 110 through a toll one time. That suspect stole a car and I was chasing it. He broke the arm and I'm coming right behind him. Woof! It was, when I tell you, and I just look back, I go, that 21, bro, that I just think is just too young, man. It's just too young.
Well, the young guys will find out too. You could do all that stuff and make all those arrests and create all that revenue. And the day the department decides that you're a liability because you did hit somebody on a chase, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'll have your back. You're gonna learn the hard way.
Yep,
So
100%. Dave, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, well, look, like Tom said before, the guy can't play stupid. Tom, I don't think he was playing stupid. I think that was just his natural demeanor. Like, how do you think flipping off a cop is some violation of law? I'm still working on that one. When George Thompson, he was street cop and put together the verbal judo, what's the first thing he said? He said professional face. It's not your personal face, your professional face. You can't be the high school kid. We've all done this on the subway. Like, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? I mean, it's a whole different dynamic. Yes, as a man, every one of us wanted to get out of the car and grab that finger the guy held up, break it off, and put it where. But it's like, one thing that I liked about verbal judo that I always found very helpful is something called funny word blocks, where you just you disarm what someone says something like that, and it's almost like trash talking, but you make the guy feel really small by laughing it off. He just feels that that guy's like a stud now on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what his persuasion is, but male, female, and different. He's got some dates, because of that, because he's, he dissed the man and got away with it.
Yeah.
So, but a man is only as big as what bothers him, and that that young fella needed to. Hopefully he'll learn a lesson and be a better cop.
Yeah. And what do you think about the age requirements that we all pretty much, Shane and Dom and myself, think we think it should be raised because it's just too young, we believe. Just learning.
Well, it's a great point. But I think as history moves forward, human beings seem to be developing a lot more slowly. Don't you? I mean, I look back man, when I was 12, I remember guys in grade school, in 6th, 7th grade, some of the kids, they already had full beards and were cannonball delts.
Yeah, they said testosterone levels are down and everything else. You look at, I don't know about you, I used to remember every single phone number of somebody I knew. I never used a calculator. I think our phones have literally retarded, slowed, deterred our development. And whatever poison they're putting in our food, our testosterone is low as men. So yeah, there's a very big slowing gap of progression of males.
Yeah, but I think I was just retarded myself without any external cause myself personally. But yeah, I mean, I look believe it or not, I got grown kids. My youngest was just 12. I look at him and saying, that wasn't me at 12. It's just, I think now, if 12 is closer to 16, back then, I think 27, 30. I think now you're pushing. They say your frontal, the processing part of your brain is not even fully developed till you're after 25. So why are we putting people in positions of authority where critical skills and decision making is required when they really don't have the tools?
We all know why. They're order takers.
So, Dave, it makes it sound you making an argument that it should be moved, or you're making an argument
older.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
How many of the old guys? How many of the old guys? When we got older, all of a sudden, our tickets. We were given more verbal warnings instead of tickets, and all of a sudden, it was instead of the evidence locker, the weed went in the gutter and just said, "Get the fuck out of here, go home." And then all of a sudden, you were getting in more trouble. You were still doing your job. You were still keeping the streets safe, but discretion as an older man who knew what society and life was like started to kick in, and you weren't some stupid hothead who had a hard on for, oh my God, I got a quarter size amount of X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, it's nothing. Throw it away. It's maturity.
My first, right out of the academy, when they got to my first office, I remember. You remember Tackleberry?
Yeah.
Police.
Okay, Tackleberry was he ain't got shit on me. I came in, I had a gun on my hip, I had 4 magazines, I had my handcuff pouch, I had in my samurai suit. I was ready. Then one of the older guys says, you're in the office, right? So back when you're young, you want to jump out of the car, you want to crash through the door, you want to do everything that you've always dreamed about doing in law enforcement. Then you get a little older and smarter, and you think, you know what? Maybe we won't try to arrest David Koresh in his heavily armed compound. Maybe we'll wait till he goes downtown and grabs his Starbucks coffee like he did every single day. It's smart. It's like, remember I won't tell it on this
Old Bull Young Bull is
podcast.
where
Old Bull
you're
Young Bull.
going. That's where you're
Old Bull
going.
Young Bull.
100%.
If you're watching this podcast, Google it.
Hey, Dom, man, it's been a pleasure, bro. Like,
I
we've had a
appreciate
bunch
you.
of guests on. I don't think they was just as exciting as you are, bro. I hope you decide to come back, man. We'll love
Take
that.
Dom any day, man.
Like,
Yeah,
you
man.
gotta be a
Appreciate
part
that,
of the squad now.
Thank
What do
you.
you say?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, anything you
Yeah,
need,
man.
I'm available. I'd rather offend your
No, I
audience
definitely-
than keep offending mine.
Nah, Dom's the man, man. I watch his channel all the time. I watch it all the time.
Thank you.
Come out.
Yes, definitely. I'm after this video come out, we're probably gonna get a lot more requests of joining when Dom's on and see how how people come on and just go back.
Oh, you know, it would be really great. You ever see The Five on Fox?
Mm-hmm.
Or what's the show with the one guy and the rest of the women? That's what you should do, Joe.
Jeez.
You should get a whole panel of cops and Dom. That would be great to watch.
Hey Dom, would you do it?
Yeah, so far, and no woman, I can't get a female cop to come out and do any type of debating with me. So it is what it is.
Are you?
They all say
serious?
they will. Oh, they're the problem is here's my very hard stance with females. Now, I come from a negative reinforcement background. I was telling somebody the other day, my first wrestling coach when I was 12, I shot in for a double leg takedown. And the next thing I know, because my head was down, I had a big, thick, black Italian hair. I feel my head on fire. Well, Coach Cruz had a fistful of my hair, ripped my head up and screamed, "Keep your head up, you commie pinko." And I went, I know what a is, but I don't know what a commie or a pinko is. So I had to go home and ask my mom. And she didn't yell at him. It was, no, coach wants you to do this, do this. I come from that era where if I go, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds this month, and somebody goes, oh, you can do it, I believe in you, that does nothing for me. But if the three of you on this panel go, you fucking pussy, you're never going to do it, I'm going to go, now I'm going to bury all of you. Right. The problem with females is they don't get it, where I'm looking for someone who sits there and says, fuck this guy, I'm going to show him exactly what a female cop should do, and then goes out and they set the standard. I would love to back that person. But so far, every female who is in a position of hierarchy and has some type of status online, they all get butthurt, they all block, they all threaten to sue. It blows me away how the opinions I give out makes them so insanely upset, which proves the point. If you can't handle my opinion, then you can't handle what somebody's going to say to you on the street. So, no, I'm looking for females, and there's a lot of them. There really are. I've talked to many behind the scenes who are so fantastic for the job, and they're embarrassed of what other females are representing themselves as.
Yeah.
They can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Not at all. Not at all. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dominique Izzo. Check him out on his IG. It's pretty interesting.
Please.
I follow him.
Yes.
What he's talking about is exactly the truth. I've seen you repost comments from female officers. There was one that was telling you, oh, you're not telling them about your history, and you even put it up. You hold no punches. You wasn't hiding anything.
Yeah, I'll name names here. You want some controversy for your channel? That's Frank Sloop's girlfriend. Fridays with Frank. His active female officer, a girlfriend from Pinella County, Pew Pew Goddess. I offered her to come on for a debate. And when that happened, she DM'd me saying, maybe I should expose your sext messages to other women. And I went, do it. So you're an active female police officer who you want to betray what I did with other women on. Yeah, that's a great class act for a female cop. And the next thing you know, I'm going to sue you and block. So I don't have respect for female police. I've never had a guy do that to me. I've had women do that.
No,
Frank Sloop's girlfriend, no love lost.
We appreciate you being direct. We appreciate
I'll
your
name
truth.
names all day long. I don't care.
Yeah, we love it, man. We definitely love it. For my audience, we definitely gonna invite him back. Hopefully, he will come back. So as always, your fight is not on the side of the road; it's in the courtroom. Officer has the home court advantage. You will lose all day, every day on the side of the road. Keep safe. Take your fight to the courtroom. Balance out your fight. It will definitely balance out in the courtroom. I've seen it firsthand. Be safe and look forward to see you next time.